With 5G has come millimeter wave signals, beamforming, and other RF techniques. That, in turn, has caused the test industry to have to respond and start working at frequencies that they may not have had to work at before. Those companies, however, that have worked for years in the military communications are used to those frequencies. Nevertheless, they still have had to develop systems and procedures for testing millimeter wave ICs, particularly amplifiers. To find out more about a test system that works with millimeter wave ICs, we spoke with Steve Sargent, CEO of MarvinTest Solutions. Steve, thank you for coming on to 5G Technology World.
Martin, first of all, thanks for the opportunity to meet again. Let's just kind of put a few things in perspective. Most of our customers today in the 5G arena are in the low noise amplification range, which is the 10 to 20 gigahertz. A lot of 6 gigahertz in communications. Beamforming devices, though, in the 10 to 44 gigahertz range become much more complex, and optical communication in the 50 to 60 gigahertz range, and even beyond, which is now on the horizon starting to evolve. Those are much more complex. And that's where the customers that we found that our system found the best application reside. And so in that area of the 44 to 53 gigahertz range, that's our sweet spot today. And so we had to develop a test system that would work and work well and reliably and consistently in that arena. And that's our TS900E 5G test solution. That solution takes that particular range, that gigahertz range, and forced us, quite frankly, to take the aerospace precision that we have, allowed us to take that precision and discipline to put together a solution that our customers are finding leading edge in this world of semiconductor test.
Has MarvinTest had to add new engineers to the company to support this new effort?
We've had to add certain capabilities in terms of personnel and their capabilities to the company. Specifically, we've added an RF design engineer who could work with the RF supplier. So we really are an electronic functional test house who partners with those that specialize in RF, in this case, Keysight, and with their test solutions integrated into ours to make the full system. We've added software and hardware engineers as well as application engineers into our team to make sure that we can provide what you know us for over the decades, which is long-term customer support. A lot of the semiconductor producers were in that lower range, but the customers that we're finding that need our solution are in the higher range of the 44 to 53 gigahertz. That's where industry has been lagging. That's where industry's been lagging in the production test capability. They were working in the lab, but they had not gone to production. And that's what we're very proud to be the first in the industry to be fielding high rate production level test sets, because our customers are seeing volumes now exceeding 100,000 units per month.
So the frequencies that you're speaking of are generally not being used for 5G. That's been happening in roughly the 28 to 30 gigahertz, but there is some work going on at the higher frequencies for 5G. So Are you seeing this from communications companies, or is some of this also military communications?
We're seeing it both in the commercial and mil-aero applications, and it's a greater capability than the lower gigahertz range you typically saw emerging fast in cellular technology, quite frankly, in phones. This is a much higher capability and will enable, in the future, this will be the type of system that's going to enable more autonomous information that you're going to need for driverless cars, for instance, those that drive themselves, because the speed at which and the volume at which the information needs to move, the data needs to move, is enabled by these higher gigahertz devices.
Have your engineers or your customers' engineers had to develop new test fixtures to handle these frequencies?
Right. So there are new test fixtures, and MTS actually introduced a new test fixture designed to readily and easily interface production wafer, probers, and handlers into the system. Now, we did this on the first one, but our customers have the ability to design their own as well if they choose to, for certain customers.
So do you find that your customers tend to develop their own, or are they using yours, or is there some split between that?
Ours is making it to the field, to the test floor, but I have been in discussions already with our customers, and I think there will be a hybrid. Some will want to do it themselves. Some will want to rely on those that they've relied on before for the fixtures, and some will use ours. Some customers, as you know, want you to be the full service, deliver all their components, and others say, you deliver this part and we'll use our suppliers for the other part. So we're happy to work in either one of those environments, and we're doing that today.
In terms of how to specify the system, how to build the test fixture, perhaps, what sort of support do you have to give? You said that some customers like to do certain things themselves, and some customers want it pretty much turnkey. So what can you say to the customers who want to do something themselves? What kind of support do you offer?
The basic support that we offer is our 5G test system. So that system can be delivered with or without handlers. So again, the customer can tell us what handler they'd like to use. They can tell us what other support they want, whether it is in the interface fixture, the test fixture, if they want to do their own or if they want to use ours. The handler is a big one, and we're compatible with all the existing handlers that are out there today. So they can either turn to us and say, deliver this all together, or just deliver your 5G TS900 5G system, and we'll mate it to our own handler. So communications is really the key, and coordination, collaboration as we move forward to make sure that we get the solution that the customer wants and not the one that's just a cookie cutter that we deliver and say, you got to take all of this or none of this.
Do your customers test ICs at the wafer level, at the package level, or both?
We can test at the wafer level, or we can test at the product level with the solution that we provide. So it's very flexible. And if the customer tells us, then we set the system up to do what they need to do. Again, with handlers, the test interface for the fixture, etc. And one other thing that you mentioned, that could be a player is, depending on the type of device, the bends in the cables, the lengths of the cables, and all that are very, very critical.
How has the pandemic changed the way you've had to support your customers?
Because of the pandemic, we've actually invested in doing video installation for our customers. So we provide them the video in advance, and then we might get on something like we're doing today with a virtual connection between their engineers and ours to affect the installation. That type of solution comes from, one, the innovative approach that we've taken, but two, the interaction that we've had with the customer along the way.
What software do you provide for your customers who are using this 5G automated test system?
ATEasy is both a test development and test executive software, and we have expanded ATEasy over the years to include ICEasy to actually run the system to provide the test that the customer needs.
Steve, can you give our viewers an idea of the kinds of companies that are using your 5G test equipment?
These are quite large companies that are some of the pioneers into this higher gigahertz range of testing in this 44 to 53 amount. They're leading the industry in volume. They're getting it out of the lab, getting it into large scale production now. And we've got 3 customers today that have this test set fielded, and we've got customers that are now taking it from where they're fielded in the United States, where they've been using it, to now go overseas in their OSATs in multiple numbers.
Can you give us an idea of the equipment from Keysight that you are integrating into your system, and what do you provide around the Keysight equipment?
So we provide the chassis, we provide the interface, the test fixture, as we talked about earlier, the cabling, and the ensure that, as I give you the exact number here of the system, so that we get that exactly right. But we do the probe station, we can do the device handler, we can do the manipulator, we can marry all those things together around their specific device. And the ones that we're using from Keysight marry up with our GX 7200 PXI Express high power chassis. And Keysight is providing I want to get the number right because there's an 07 and an 08. And here it is. It's the M9807 Alpha at 44 gigahertz and the M9808 Alpha at 53 gigahertz. So those systems fit well into our modular open system architecture, and our engineers are able to build our TS900E 5G system around that RF capability that they provide. And the customers are very happy with that because Keysight is a leader in the RF industry, and they're a leader in this 5G portion of it.
Steve Sargent, CEO of MarvinTest, thank you for taking the time to speak with 5G Technology World. And to those of you watching, thank you for watching. Until next time, I'm site editor Martin Rowe.